Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It's a great pleasure that you are with us today. It's the first webinar of Fleet Europe in 2022. And in the name of Fleet Europe, I wish you, your colleagues, and your family a happy and a safe and healthy 2022. Welcome to our first webinar, a webinar supported by Streamax, one of the leading suppliers and service providers when it comes to intelligent telematics, intelligent connectivity services for commercial vehicles. I believe that they have already more than 2 million vehicles in their platform, but you will learn more about them and also their additional services that they can bring to you and your fleet in the upcoming 45 to 50 minutes. So this webinar is for information purposes only, and you can't copy the information without permission of Fleet Europe or the participating parties in this webinar. Let me then introduce you to our expert speakers. We have lined up for you today 3 true experts. We have Jerry Lee, who is the Global Marketing Director at Streamax. We also have the pleasure to introduce to you Jesse Chappell, who is the Product Director of Video Intelligence at Trimble. And our third expert speaker, ladies and gentlemen, is Antoine Bruere, Product and Continuous Improvement Manager at Fraikin. They will first do a short presentation, but you will have the possibility to ask your questions to our experts. The only thing that you need to do is to submit your question. You can do that throughout this webinar via the chat function that you find in this easy-to-use tool. And at the end of the webinar, we will then have a Q&A with 3 experts. So let's kick off. It's now time to introduce the first expert speaker, and that is Jerry Lee, who is the Global Marketing Director at Streamax. And I would already like to thank Jerry Lee and his team for the confidence that they have in Fleet Europe and for organizing this webinar together with us. Jerry Lee, welcome. I hope that you are doing well.
Thank you, Stephen. It's always good to be here and nice to see you again.
Okay, perfect. I think that you have a presentation. So if you are ready, we can now share the presentation.
Sure.
Okay,
So
we see it.
is it working?
Indeed. Yes,
Awesome.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Stephen. So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Jerry Lee, and I'm the Marketing Director of Streamax. I'm delighted to be here today to share our take on the benefits of video telematics. At the beginning, I would like to quickly introduce Streamax. Streamax was founded in 2002 in Shenzhen, China. Our mission is to build a brighter future of transportation with technology. 20 years later, we now have 2,200 employees and 800 R&D engineers. We are serving more than 2 million commercial vehicles around the world. We became a public company in 2019 and listed in the Shenzhen Stock Exchange. We are honored to be ranked as the #1 provider of mobile video solutions by Berg Insight. Our business focus has always been providing specialized solutions for commercial vehicles by empowering local partners around the world. We developed dedicated solutions for many different verticals, such as public buses, taxis, trucks, and many more, to improve the safety, compliance, and efficiency management. Our solution has been trusted by many Fortune 500 companies such as FedEx, Walmart, Coca-Cola, Unilever, PepsiCo, YPF, and many more. Now, let's talk about the trucking industry and video telematics. The trucking industry is the lifeblood of modern economy. Over 120 million trucks carries over 60% of all cargoes around the world. To improve the safety management of this huge industry, many technology were adopted. From early 1990s, GPS technology were used to track the vehicle's position and identify accidents. However, it only shows where the accidents happened. In early 2000s, video monitoring technology were introduced into the trucking industry, but it wasn't widely used due to the high cost and limited functionality. It could only show how the accidents happened. However, the accident had already happened. In 2015, AI video technology came along. This is the first time the trucking industry have access to the technology to prevent accidents from happening. It started the trend of video telematics. But this is not the end. The next step is to utilize the data generated from the smart cameras to facilitate behavior change, which is phase 4 and the focus of Streamax video telematics solution. The series of innovation have triggered a trend of global adoption of video telematics solutions. While the adoption rate is still low, market research have indicated the global compound annual growth rate of video telematics solutions will be 25% for the next 5 years. That means in 2022, roughly 1.25 million trucks will be equipped with video telematics solutions, and 200,000 of them will happen in Europe. Some may ask, what is video telematics? To me, video telematics is the combination of traditional telematics solutions combined with video safety management solution. On top of the telematic components, it included new components such as the video camera, video management portal, and additional functions like driver coaching modules, ADAS driver monitoring solution, and blind spot detection functionalities. The video camera for video telematics can either be easy to deploy dash cams for more extensive multi-channel MTBR solutions, or more extensive multi-channel MTBR solutions. In our mind, video telematics solutions should govern and provide value on all aspects of the fleet's operation, including normal driving, the vehicle turning, parking, loading, accident handling, and driver coaching process. During normal driving, our solution continuously monitored the driver and provide real-time warnings when unsafe driving behaviors are detected. These behaviors include phone usage, driving fatigue, distractions, and many more. Our industry-leading hardware combines ultra-high resolution recordings, wide field of view, and reliable AI processing to detect road-level risk and unsafe driving behaviors. It can detect events such as lane departure warning, forward collision warning, following distance warning, pedestrian collision warnings, road signs, and many more. Unsafe driving behaviors such as driving fatigue, distractions, phone usage, unfastened seatbelt, and smoking can also be detected by providing real-time coaching to the driver. Large vehicles have large blind spots. It is especially dangerous when the vehicle is turning. Our solution can detect vulnerable road users in the blind spot and provide warnings in real time to ensure a safe turn. Together with the warning, the video footage will be shown in the display to ensure the driver understands what's going on in his surroundings. For box trucks, our existing solution can be fitted to detect and to look at and detect vulnerable road users from the rear to the front. We will introduce a blind spot detection camera that is mounted in the cab to serve the tractor-trailer market in Q1 2022. Fleet owners and drivers are often concerned about fuel theft and cargo safety when the vehicle is parked. Our solution can monitor the cargo bay and other sensitive area to provide evidence when an accident happened. The under CCTV monitoring sign can also act as a deterrence for the perpetrator. This camera can be used as a rear-wheel assistance system to help truck drivers monitor his surroundings when backing up. During the loading and unloading process, goods can also be damaged. Cause of damage and responsible party can be identified by utilizing the additional cargo bay camera supported by our multi-channel solution. During an accident, quick responsibility identification is very important to speed up the law enforcement processing and claim processing. It can also prove your innocence when you're not at fault. According to statistics, majority of the accidents will be blamed on the commercial vehicle driver, even though most of the time they're not at fault, as shown in the video that we are looking at right now. During the accidents, our solution can be used to provide quick remote evidence retrieval, so the video can be shared with the driver, law enforcement, and also the insurance provider. We also understand privacy protection is very important. Therefore, our solution supports automatic sensitive information mosaic on the edge. Sensitive information, such as license plate and face recordings, are blurred on the device to meet GDPR requirements. Our solution also enables fleet managers to track and live stream the operation of their vehicles. It brings fleet manager to the passenger seat of the truck to remotely access the situation and help the driver. They can use our solution to track the location, see the video, and open a two-way audio communication with the driver to avoid the driver touching his phone. Sometimes, fleet managers' duty require them to go back in time to assess the situation. It could be a phone call saying that there was a hit and run with one of your trucks, or there could be a garbage bin did not get picked up in today's garbage pickup run. Using our solution, the fleet managers can remotely play through the historical video data without needing to access the vehicle. The vehicle can even be offline or turn off at the time, and the fleet manager can wake it up to make sure he can get access to those videos when he needs it. The drag and play interface and the clip and export tool enable an effortless resolution to these situations. Our solution can also provide actionable data for fleet managers to conduct driver coaching. Using video telematics, fleet managers can keep track of the fleet's safety status by looking at the dashboard. They can identify drivers that require coaching from the driver ranking and the scorecard, and also the coachable moments in the coaching center. They can easily share coachable events with the driver through the driver's app to raise driver awareness on their unsafe driving habits. And the app will automatically remind the driver when there are events for him to reveal. The effectiveness of the coaching process can also be tracked in the scorecard and also the emerging trends in the dashboard. With the safety dashboard, event video library, and the upcoming driver scorecard, fleet managers can do targeted coaching to facilitate a positive change in his fleet. In summary, our solution utilizes IoT and machine vision technology to improve the safety management of the driver and the cargo. Our value proposition is operation visibility for fleet managers so that they can see what they want, whenever and wherever they want. To provide driver assistance via fatigue warnings and turn assistance feature. Using video to exonerate driver during accidents and prevent cargo theft. Using event video and data points to assist driver coaching. As our solution focuses on driver safety and cargo safety, we rely on industrial partnership to provide efficiency and compliance management, such as fuel consumption management, route planning, and many more. Our trusted partners like Fraikin and Trimble have successfully combined the Streamax video safety solution with their class-leading telematics solutions. Now, let's hear their take on video telematics. I will pass the floor back to Stephen, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jerry Lee. Thank you. And Jerry will stay with us until the end of this webinar because, as mentioned before, we will have a Q&A later on. So if you have a question for our expert speakers, drop it in our chat in the tool, and I will moderate at the end the interesting Q&A with our experts. Next up is one of the partners of Streamax. Jerry already pointed it out. So they are working in an ecosystem with partners. This is, of course, important to enhance their capabilities. And one of those partners, a very important one, is Trimble. And today we have with us Jesse Chappell, who is the product director of video intelligence at Trimble. And Jesse, I think that you are based in the US. Is that correct?
I am.
Okay. Your company, I think, originally has the headquarters in California. You are also in California at the moment?
I am not. I'm actually in Minneapolis, Minnesota, which I just looked up. It is negative 27 degrees centigrade.
Okay. Okay. So it's freezing outside. It's good that you came in. So very good. Jesse, thank you very much. Thank you for joining this webinar. Also, you will first have a few slides to present how you value the importance of video intelligence and video telematics. And you will stay with us also afterwards to answer some questions from the participants.
I will. Thank you very much, Stephen. So I'm Jesse Chappell. I already mentioned Minneapolis, Minnesota, where it's plenty cold outside. I'm going to talk to you about Trimble. Trimble as a whole, we're about $3.8 billion. We have 12,000 employees globally. We have a large base here in the United States, but we do have a fair extension out through the EU, Latin America, as well as India. We focus on essentially 4 different areas, or we have 4 pillars: geospatial, construction, ag, and then transportation. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about transportation, more specifically, transportation here in North America. So transportation in North America, Trimble as a whole, we have a little over 2 million vehicles with a Trimble solution inside. 99% of the top 200 fleets in North America use some type of a Trimble technology within their truck, or utilizing to better create efficiencies amongst their operation. We are seeing a rapid expansion in the EU as well as Latin America. Those markets are really trending well for us. And we'll continue to see some double-digit growth here in North America. Specifically in North America, it's some 2 numbers that are a couple years old, 2020, but we have about 5.7 million tractors running the streets here in North America. That's projected to go to about 6.2 in 2024. There's also about 5.2 million drivers that take care of these tractors. And that is going to increase slightly to 6 million by 2024. But what's astounding is they're moving 57.7 million loads annually, and that is projected to move 70,000 by 2024. So we have a small increment of drivers that are entering the market, but yet we're going to ask them to move almost 13 million more. So the only way we can do that is by efficiencies. And that's where Trimble's sweet spot is in the transportation market. So depending on whether you're in procurement or planning or the execution side, whether you're 3PL, carrier, broker, or a driver actually moving the freight, we have a solution that will work with each one of those and help you with the execution, help you with the planning, and bring optimization all the way across the entire supply chain. And that's really our focus. There's a lot of data that goes on behind there, and the analytics that go into play. Specifically here in North America, I'm kind of a history buff, and so I like to talk, just take a flashback, if you will, for a few minutes. The first video camera was actually recorded in 1939, and as the officer was driving, he was looking for ways to provide evidence as well as train other officers. And as he came into a situation, he'd have to hit the button, and it would record a short blip. Obviously not super practical. And so then as we move forward back into the late 60s, the Connecticut State Trooper had this huge tripod, and I had a picture of it, but it took up like almost the whole front of the car. And it was effective, but it was impractical due to the size. It wasn't until 1980 when VHS came out, and it was a little bit more compact, a little smaller. But the big thing is the advancement of batteries. And so it came out with nickel-cadmium batteries, which allowed for a longer record time. Obviously, the technology was still getting there, but it was effective. But this was a pivotal point because it allowed more officers to use video in a practical way. And they used it for not only evidence, but also for other officers' training. And in 2002, there's a study by IACP, which is the Association of Chief of Police, and they said that 93% of the time the officers were exonerated. And so that was the main key for the video, was all around exoneration. By 2007, 61% of the police vehicles actually had some type of a dash cam in. And today, you'd have a hard time finding a squad car anywhere in the United States or North America for that matter that doesn't have some type of a video. So the thing I want you to walk away from here is the adoption rate. So in 1980 it was introduced, and 40 years later, fully implemented. So now when we start talking about the trucking industry didn't really start seeing videos until, or some type of recording device until about 2010. And it became very popular because the drivers were purchasing the cameras for their exoneration piece. They wanted their own evidence. They wanted it to protect them. And, they're covering millions of miles, right? And so once again, this is all about exoneration. Shortly thereafter, about, roughly 5 years later, the fleets started, and the carriers really started catching on and said, you know what, we want it for exoneration, but we also want it for training purposes. And we want to hold the evidence. We want to prove that our drivers are safe and they're acting, in a safe manner when they're out there. But then it moved in from not an exoneration tool, but more into a safety system. And they started evolving it into their safety programs. And they realized that as they have more of these and they implement it into their training program, it reduces their incidents that they have and their accidents that they have out the road. And in 2015, this was such a hot commodity that it was the fastest growing consumer electronic device out there. The UK alone saw a 395% increase. So if we look at this in 2010 to 2020, in 10 years, we've penetrated and we've started the implementation, and it's transverse. So this trend is taking about 25% of what, as far as time goes, than what the police officers and law enforcement seeing. So in order to adapt and position ourselves well for this, rapid growth, we wanted to look for a new partner, and a partner that is going to help us blend not only video, because we wanted the exoneration, but also integrate in artificial intelligence and make that device smarter. Our customers were constantly pushing us to have better quality video, more information, and the big thing is data. They want data coming from the device, and they want the device to be smarter, not just a recorder, but an actual device that's providing information. They can provide actionable, coaching on. And so when we set out to do this, we had a project that was about 16, 17 months long. We wanted a partner that was going to give us the global support, not only have locations within the world, but also be able to support and know that market. And somebody that was innovative, that was cutting edge, that has the pulse on technology and where technology is going, the new cameras, the new components that go inside the DVR. And more importantly for us, was somebody that was going to be strategically aligned, has knows the transportation market and can align with Trimble and where we're going and go in that journey together. And so we chose Streamax, and it's been a great partnership. This is our new DVR that we launched towards the end of last year. It's the M1N. It has a 1080p camera with artificial intelligence built into the forward-facing camera. This device will give you a full 360-degree view. You can have multiple cameras all the way around the vehicle. But the key point here is the ability to take that AI and notify the driver. So as the driver is either departing the lane, is fatigued, and so forth, we can notify that driver of the condition and ultimately stop that behavior immediately inside the cab. So this was a huge advancement for us, and we couldn't have done it without Streamax. I talked about the 360-degree view. We have cameras, very small pod cameras that are universally mounted on any vertical or horizontal space or surface. When we combine that with driver's assist, which means you can get a live video feed inside the cab when certain actions are performed, such as when the truck's in reverse, we can do one of the side cameras so that the driver never loses sight of the trailer. As you can see the angle of this truck here, if he or she was using their mirrors, they would not be able to see the rear of the trailer. So we do that with these multiple, very flexible, very universal mounting pod cameras. And then we have one of the first in class and first in the industry, which is a wireless transmitter receiver that self-pairs. And so this gives you, just in company with the driver's assist, gives you a backup camera on your trailer. So very flexible, great solution, very popular with our customers. And so what we've seen and where Streamax has helped us go is, when we combine video with AI, you're going to reduce your litigation costs. You're going to also be able to save costs on your insurance because you're going to have less claims. And some insurance companies here in North America will actually give you a discount on your rates. You're also going to improve your overall fleet safety. If your drivers are safer out there, not only is it better because you are, when you're driving down the road, it's a huge billboard on the side of these tractors. When you have a better and safer program, you're going to have less incidents, which means you're going to be able to keep your productivity high and you're going to have less downtime, ultimately stabilizing your entire operation. I wanted to bring forward a couple case studies. So Beelman Trucking, very familiar with this, with this particular case. Over a 1-year period, the FMCSA, which is a governing body here in North America, they had a compliance, safety, and accountability program. And Beelman was originally ranked 69th in this. And utilizing the VI, as well as our data analytics program, our safety analytics, they were able to identify which drivers to coach and what to coach them on. And then once they did that, they saw a drop from 69th all the way up to 9th place. And just having the not only the data to back it up, but also having that video to show the drivers, it's incredibly powerful. And it doesn't always have to be an accident. And so Jerry earlier was talking about, the journey between a video where after the accidents happen and then actually preventing it. This is a prime example of where a customer, in utilizing that safety program with the combination of video, you're going to prevent the accidents. And then Gorski Bulk, once again, heavy into the safety as far as video goes. They went in and they have an entire program set up where they religiously, on a weekly basis, sit down with drivers, coach your drivers, and they've seen a tremendous amount of improvement. The cool thing about Gorski is they've been able to reduce their rates because of the video intelligence, of being able to prove how efficient and how safe their overall program is. So that is all I had. Stephen, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you very much for this inspiring story, and stay with us until the end for the Q&A, where the participants can still ask questions via the chat. We heard already from Streamax. We also heard from Trimble, and now it's time for a best practice, a case study with a customer of Streamax, and that is Fraikin. And Fraikin, as you might know, is the commercial vehicle fleet services company. They are providing, contract hire services, rental services, and also fleet management. And with us today, we have Antoine Bruere. He is the Product and Continuous Improvement Manager at Fraikin. And Antoine, I think that you already work with the Streamax solution. Is that correct?
Yes, we are testing it. Yes.
Okay, so it will also be interesting to hear from you why you are opting now for video telematics, and what have you already done, and what are your plans for the future. So thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you. So as Steven said, I'm Antoine Bruere, Product and Continuous Improvement Manager, but only for Fraikin France, based near Paris. So I will introduce you who is Fraikin, why video telematic, the benefits of video telematic, the Streamax solution, and why Streamax. So first of all, who is Fraikin? Fraikin is something like 75 years of experience and something like 58,000 vehicles operating across 12 countries. And it makes Fraikin as the leader in Europe for the long-term renting of every kind of industrial and commercial vehicles. We have a goal, and the goal is to increase demand on faster, cleaner, and safer transport solution. That's why we are here, and that's why Fraikin needs reliable local partner to provide the right vehicles with the right features and the right level of services. So why video telematic? Because Fraikin already offers telematic, but not with video. Through the video, we want to reduce the accident rate with new technologies, and especially with those which are not already available with the bodybuilders or even with the builders, because the mission of Fraikin is to support our customer in their daily operation through innovative solutions. We have two kinds of customers. The first one is the full services customers, with whom we can put a sinistrality challenge, and so if they don't break their trucks, they can have some cash back at the end of the year. and we have only renting customers, and they pay when they have an accident, when they break. So there is this side, there is this financial impact, and of course there is a human impact, because it helps to manage how people work, so how they drive, to increase their productivity, and most of all the security, and by reducing accidents. So we can sell video telematics as a new tool to make profitability, but also security. The benefits of telematics, from one side, it's for our partners. Obviously, they can have the visibility, and they can understand the driving behavior of their people, so to develop strategy to improve it, but to improve it with the manager, with a solution which follow the national and international regulation, because in France it's not very easy to film people at work. And for Fraikin, the benefits is to improve support and service quality to our customers, and offer something new each year, to understand accidents, so maybe to put the right feature on the truck to avoid accidents, and finally to increase our margin. So the Streamax solution that we tried is the AD Plus, which is a camera who can get some information from outside and both inside the vehicle to understand what's happened on the road and inside the vehicle. This camera have a 4G connection to transmit to the platform, to the Streamax platform, the information in live. So we have live view of inside and outside the trucks. We have replay functions, and we have a report part that we can use every day, every time, to have some dashboard, to have some numbers about how to manage the driver, and to understand the issue. And why Streamax? First of all, Streamax, because the pertinence of the information from the hardware. The quality of the image is just very, very good. The product is very well manufactured. There is ADAS and DMS solution, and it's very easy to integrate it to the telematic partners that we already have. So it's a good point, and we can easily customize the solutions to our clients. And it's very important because due to this characteristic, that was very easy to find some customers and to try this solution with a dedicated team of Streamax in France. So that was the solution was very convincing, but it was very important to have some people who speak French and who live in France to facilitate the poke phase. So that's it for me, Steven. It's okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Antoine.
Yep.
Thank you for sharing your first thoughts about the Streamax solution. I also ask Jerry and Jesse to join the Q&A. And to the audience, if you have a question, then please use the chat function, because we are now going to start our Q&A together with our three experts. We'd like to start with Jerry Lee. And I would like to start with probably one of the perhaps most difficult questions to answer, but I can imagine that participants are interested in that answer. Can you share a little bit what the cost is of your solution, or how do you base the cost structure towards a customer? Is it a subscription per month? Is it per vehicle? Can you elaborate a little bit?
Yes. So, well, when we talk about the cost of the video cameras, is fraction of the cost of a truck. So whenever you come into an accident, then I would think that the cost of the video telematics solution is very cheap. So When we typically look at video, it comes with two major components. One is the initial hardware cost for putting the cameras into the truck. And depending on what kind of a solution that you're using, it could be a very easy to use dash cam solution that you can potentially install it yourself. The more extensive solution, like the multi-channel solutions that Jesse mentioned about, will take a little bit more effort. But overall, we try to make it as easy as possible, and also to be able to use the videos, the data to better manage the fleet, like live streaming, training, all of that. It requires a monthly subscription from our integrating partners, and also a small data cost. I would say in US dollars amount, it could be $30, $40 per vehicle per month in terms of the overall package. But it really depends on what kind of functionalities, what kind of service that you're looking at. So there's a lot of variables. So don't hold me for that quote.
No, but okay. But it's already good that you could indicate a little bit how that price structure is built up. And then elaborating on that, I would like to continue with Jesse. Jesse, you, of course, have quite a lot of experience with Trimble and everything that has to do with software, hardware, etc. If you look at the return on investment of telematics in general and video telematics supported by AI in particular, can you tell us a little bit what customers can expect in terms of ROI?
Sure, I can try to enlighten you a little bit, Stephen. So our ROI is kind of an interesting question because some of what Jerry was referring to is the overall implementation, right? And what you choose and how you utilize it. But I've seen customers literally have pay for their entire system within the first 30 days because they had a major accident where they weren't at fault, and so they saved it. So I mean that's an extreme example though, right? Generally, customers are going to see their ROI in the 14 to 16 month range. Once again, depends on how much they use it, whether they're working with their insurance companies and so forth for safety. And as far as the overall Trimble solution, I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it, and there's a lot of efficiencies to be gained. Whether it's fuel costs are skyrocketing here in North America. I think it is pretty much around the world. And so that's a large factor, when we're talking about, a vehicle that's getting 12 miles per gallon. And so utilizing some of those other technologies, you're going to save not only fuel costs, but also overall operational efficiencies. And so your ROIs start to add up. And particularly in our business in North America, margins are so tight, just a little bit, just a small incremental gain is going to give you a big dollar figure at the end of the year.
Okay, good. Antoine, you are at the moment testing the solution of Streamax. Yes. Can you first tell us when do you hope to have those first results? When do you foresee the end of the testing phase?
We had two phases. The first one was without saying to the driver, without the alarm. In the trucks, we say to the driver, "Be careful, you are doing something bad." And we took a second month to advertise him, to say to him, "Be careful, you are smoking and you are driving at the same time." And now we are experimenting a phase with only the customer alarm. For example, in France, it's very difficult to say to your driver, "Don't smoke, don't use your telephone." It's quite private. So we are still trying to find what is the right level in France, because in France it's very difficult to film some people at work, and to film outside the vehicle, for example, people on the road. So we are still trying to find the good level, I think. So
Okay.
this is
Do
my
you
answer.
foresee any issues, for example, in terms of acceptation of the technology, the video telematics technology, by the people, by the working councils?
When you don't explain to the people, yes, in the first time they put something in front of the camera, so we can't see nothing. But after 1 month and some meetings, we explain it, and after that they understand that it's not to catch little bad things. No, it's very to improve their driving behavior, and to help them to be safe and do their work as well as they can. So we've got to explain, but we have to check with the lawyers, because in France it's quite difficult from this
Yes,
side.
like it is in some other countries in Europe, for
In
sure.
Europe, I think, yes.
Yes. And a question that popped in, and I will start with Jerry. Perhaps Jesse, you would like to add a comment afterwards. It's from John Bullock. He says, as the demand for video-related solutions is increasing exponentially, how do you manage the increasing costs and technical demands on transmission of these huge quantities of data?
So I will probably speak to that on a solution point of view, and then Jesse, you can help me with the operational side of things. Mm-hmm. So from where we design the solutions, we definitely have data usage in mind. Definitely video comes in natural, uses a lot more data comparing to traditional telematics. So we first use AI technology to identify the critical moments that needs your attention. So you're not actually uploading every single bit of video into the backend. You're looking at, actually when the driver is falling asleep, or there's a near misses, or there's an actual accident. So we cherry pick the critical moments at the beginning. And second is, we don't necessarily have to transmit high definition videos. Our hardware allows the transmission of very low resolution videos to make sure you see what's happening without going over your data plan. So our firmware design already established that at the very beginning, and we're still working on features that taking into snapshots, to using that to tell you the story of the trip, rather than using an actual full-blown video. So we are from a technology standpoint, there's a lot of tool in our toolbox that we can use to minimize the data consumption.
Okay.
Yeah,
very good.
Stephen, I can talk about data costs as well. Obviously, that's a huge driver. It's a huge cost monthly. Although here in the U.S., we're starting to see with the introduction of LTE and now 5G, we're starting to see the data costs come down as the cell providers are used to massive consumptions of data. So it is a large cost for us, but we're starting to see some of those pricing plans go down. The other thing I want to mention is, as I talked about the exoneration into a safety solution, as Jerry mentioned, cherry picking some of those videos, with that AI, combining multiple events, and only uploading what is relevant, right? It's one of the hardest things in our role as a provider, showing videos that are applicable to the customers. Not just generating a bunch of videos, because we can prove that we've done that, but provide actionable videos. And the help of AI allows you to, I would say, cherry pick some of those. So it's being smart about your data usage, utilizing that snapshot feature versus a full 20-second high quality video. times 4 channels all the way around the truck. So it's about being efficient with your plan and your system.
Okay, good. We have a few questions around GDPR. So regulation, privacy regulation in Europe, but it also exists under another name, for example, in North America. Of course, you can already guess the question, let's say. So how do you get around GDPR regulations or other data privacy regulations? What effect has it in also the growing of your business? Perhaps also Jesse and Jerry, I think, in first instance, to answer this question.
Go
ahead.
When GDPR was introduced, it was, I wouldn't say it disrupted the video world. It was something that we need to focus on. And from Trimble's perspective, we wanted to build a platform that allowed our customers to be GDPR compliant. Whatever that meant, blurring of faces, blurring of license plates, being able to expunge data on drivers as they leave an organization. So I saw the question in the chat. It's not about getting around GDPR. It's about working with GDPR and allowing your customers to be GDPR compliant to what extent they need to be within the regions that they operate.
Okay. Jerry, do you want to add something?
Yes. So from our point of view, we definitely do understand the privacy concerns. And so from a technology perspective, we are trying to provide more while recording less. So one of the the key features that we provide is about monitoring how the driver is currently driving. So we are trying to create technologies that doesn't rely on actually seeing the driver's face. For example, one of the things that we're working on is to use, we call it lane keeping ability evaluation. So we look at how the vehicle is keeping in the lane to identify whether the driver is actually at his optimal driving performance, right? So we can use those kind of technologies to avoid having a camera looking internally. So to ease off that kind of privacy concern. So that all of our cameras, all of our solutions, you can choose to have a road-facing only option. Although some of the functionalities may be impacted, but at least the exoneration part and a lot of the benefits are still there. And on the road-facing side, we are introducing all of those GDPR compliance features to blur all of the license plate, the faces, so that we don't collect any sensitive personal information on that.
Okay, Antoine, do you take any measures?
Excuse me, I just want to add, yes, this is a solution we choose to not to only use as a sensor camera inside, just as a sensor and not as a camera. So it's quite different because we don't want to keep the videos and well, but for outside, we've got to be able to disable the plates on the vehicle. It's not allowed maybe to keep to have this on the video and the people too. So I think there is something that you are working on, Jerry, to be able not to have faces from outside the vehicles.
Yes, we already have that function.
Okay. Question for Antoine. What are the reasons to integrate video using Streamax into your current telematics platform rather than, for example, going out to another telematics provider that can directly into their portfolio have already that video telematics?
I think because it's quite difficult in Fraikin to change quickly this kind of services that's why for us it's easier to in the first time to see what the market offer in this kind of technology, and then to be sure that it will be able to work with our telematic partners that we already work, but and it was because it was very easy to work with Streamax. We have a French team, and that was very easy to taste it, to put a poke phase. So I think the best reason is because it was very easy to test it with Streamax, and sometimes with other partners, it's not as easier. So I think it's the best answer that I can give.
Okay, a few questions, brief ones to end the Q&A. For Jerry, a few questions. James Hayes, sorry if I pronounce the name not correctly. Jerry Lee, do the dash cams have CAN or OBD connectivity?
It does. So the goal of Streamax is definitely to have the CAN or OBD data collected onto our hardware, and then using that to submit it to whatever telematics platform that people are using, so that it becomes a centerpiece in the cockpit. So we don't have to invest the money into a tracking hardware and also a camera, and then holding two cellular connections at the same time. So it does have that, and then we are building our capabilities as we speak.
Okay. Another question for Jerry Lee: where is the platform hosted for the cameras? Is it cloud-based? Is it hosted somewhere?
Yes. So the whole, it really depends on which partners that we go with. So the cloud typically is all hosted in the cloud, and then is always hosted locally to make sure that we satisfy all of the data residency requirements. And maybe Jesse, you can elaborate a little bit more on that part.
Yeah, we're currently just like Jerry said, it is cloud, and we're hosted in the North America, and that satisfies both North America and South America, and then we can branch off to the EU to meet requirements there.
Okay. Another question, perhaps for Jesse. Jesse, do you think that a dashcam and perhaps also video telematics will become mandatory in trucks in the future?
Yeah, specifically here in North America, I think ultimately, I think as the adoption rate increases, it's just going to be part of a standard build. As we're starting to see more cameras being utilized, for example, not having side mirrors or using cameras. Now there's going to be a video solution. And so I think naturally it's going to progress that way. Ultimately, I do think certain restrictions such as hazardous material and so forth will be required to have some type of a video solution.
Okay. Jerry, how long do you think that the technology that is now more and more adopted by long-haul truck fleets, by commercial fleets, will also find its entrance with passenger car fleets?
Passenger car fleets are a little bit different. But I think so the market definitely, the penetration is going downward really, really quickly. So when we look at the units that we ship where it's mounted, a lot of them are in utility vehicles. So we have telcos that is using their vans to set up cables, internet connections, and we have pest control fleet and last mile delivery, parcel delivery, like FedEx, they're using those cameras already. So I wouldn't say it's 100% going to get into the passenger fleet, But I think at least at this point, utility fleets adoption rate is already very high.
Okay. A final question also for Jerry, as you also, let's say, the supporting party of this webinar, looking at the developments that we are seeing in AI, machine learning, and so on, how do you see video telematics further evolve? With what additional and to be expected benefits for the fleet customers?
Well, I think the evolution of video telematics, there are a few different aspects. I think first is the functionality side of things. So what's happening on the hardware or on the edge side? So there will be more and more functionality. So we can start reading, speed signs, road signs, traffic light. So there will be more events that's going to be able to get captured. And the second aspect, I believe, will be, what are we going to do with the data? So right now we are looking at statistics. We're using the events as a training tool, but the next step is to give it context. So from what we see is not only looking at the video content, but also looking at road conditions, day of the time, weather, all of that, to give the events context so that it gets smarter, more personalized, and be more helpful and easy to accept by the driver. We want it to be the virtual co-pilot rather than a monitoring tool. And then the last one, I think, is with electronics. The trend is gets better and better and cheaper and cheaper. Definitely, we see that the affordability, ever since we started this business in the trucking industry, I think the cost of the solution has reduced by half already. And then we do expect it to get reduced by half maybe in the next few years. And then, removing the upfront cost turns into a pure subscription purchase. I think it will be more and more affordable for the fleet to use it.
Okay, so there is still an interesting journey ahead. Thank you very much. Thank you to our expert speakers, Jesse Chappell of Trimble, Antoine Bruere of Fraikin, and Jerry Lee of Streamax. Thank you very much also to you, dear participants. There will be a recorded version of this webinar that we will publish later on fleeteurope.com, our website, so you can relive also the expertise of our speakers afterwards. And then there will also be a brief satisfaction survey that will be sent to you and you can fill in, because we would like to know, of course, how we can further optimize our future webinars. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this webinar, and I would like to see you again in an upcoming initiative. Bye-bye.
Right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.